What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to episode 6 today of the player career story. If you remember last episode, G was in the news. He made it into the Chinese newspaper after featuring for their national side, and he stole the show there. The question was going to be, did his dad see it? And of course, remember what his dad thought about football. It was really not good if his dad did see it. So going into this episode today, we're going to find out if there's going to be any repercussions or anything like that. That is how the league stage currently looks for the RSL at the moment. Zurich in 5th place with a game in hand though, but they are quite off the pace at the moment. Unfortunately, G's dad did see the newspaper, so he sent him a message, which was quite a serious message. It said, "I told you what would happen if you let something get in the way of your studies. You want your independence? Well, from here on out, you're on your own. No more pocket money." He actually called it pocket money as well. He kind of just put his son down, calling him a child in effect. "You will have to earn your own money if you wish to continue this nonsense." G was having none of it. He was like, you know what? Fine with me. Fair enough, you know. The thing of the matter is, he's got to think about it this way. His son's following what his want is. It's his dream to become a professional footballer. His dad is just basically just taking all that dream away and saying, listen, you've got to do this, which for me it's wrong. You know, G's 19 years of age now. He should be able to make his own decisions and make mistakes and learn from them. So I fully, support his decision to basically put back quite an abrupt comment, just saying fine with me. But I don't like the way as well that his dad kind of said pocket money, you know, kind of in effect calling him a child still. He still has a lot of control over G. I don't personally like that. So yeah, I'm glad G stood up for himself and said, you know what, fine with me. If you want to be that way, then you can be that way. But in terms of his studies, at the moment, he's not really there. He's on track, but he's not succeeding. He's not excelling like maybe his kind of, you know, parents thought he was going to do. So if they saw his grades, I'm sure they had a nightmare as well in there. So at the moment, it's not looking fantastic for G. He's still only on a contract here at the moment of about 150 English pounds, which works out about 200 Swiss francs? I think it was. He was on a week. So not the most money in the world, but still, it's enough to keep him going for now. And this first game here was an absolute shocker. Inside the first 10 minutes, Zurich were 1-0 down. They conceded first, and it was just a poor way to start the episode off. They're basically adding on to the already bad news that we've had about G. You know, his money's getting stopped. Will that implicate him too much? Because we've got to think about it this way. He's still at, you know, university. The living cost for students is quite high. Is he still going to be able to, you know, keep up with his rent and still keep up with his, you know, money and stuff? So, I mean, we'll see how it's going to pan out for the rest of this one. Because remember, his dad was paying for everything pretty much as long as he continued to study and as long as he did well. But one thing his dad wouldn't allow was for him to play football. And it just so happens that Zurich in this game were appalling. They were 1-0 down, never really looked like they were going to get back into it. They did have one chance, but it was pretty much their opponents on top here. They nearly went 2-0 up. Decent save from the Zurich goalkeeper stops them from going 2-0 up. And in the last 15 minutes, Zurich tried to pressure it. A really good save, actually, from the goalkeeper. Stopped Zurich finding an equaliser with 15 minutes remaining. And as you continue on, they tried another attempt to find it. Sheng's ball over the top, looking for a teammate. Eventually, it found its way through. And in the end, Frey has not one, but 2 attempts at this one before he unfortunately fired over the top of the crossbar. So, not ideal, and it's not exactly the way we wanted to start today's episode off. But unfortunately, Zurich did go on to lose the game by 1-0. So, losing ways to start today's episode off, not the way we wanted to go about it. And the 6.6 rating as well for G, not great. But at the end of the day, those types of game happened. You can see Zurich were the better side. They dominated the game, but unfortunately just couldn't find the right result. And out of that one, it was into another derby. Grasshopper Club, remember, he made his debut for FC Zurich in the away games of Grasshopper Club. This time he's going to get to see what the derby's all about with the home leg. So it's going to be interesting, this one, because we saw previously that Grasshopper Club, you know, they were up for it. There were 2 penalties, I think, in the first game between these two sides. So, wasn't without its controversy. But going into this one, it's not exactly been the season that we first thought it was going to be. Because Grasshopper Club at 8th place, Zurich at 5th. So, I mean, when we first watched G play in the derby, in the first game that he ever played as a kind of, I guess, pro footballer, could you call it? You know, I was looking at that and I genuinely thought that both these sides would be kind of in the top 5, top 4 possibly, but just hasn't panned out that way, has it? Again, though, look at that formation from Grasshopper Club. It's basically 5 up front, 2 midfielders, 3 at the back. That's sensational. But, yeah, weird formation. Regardless, I was looking at this game thinking that might come back to cost them. Though inside a minute, that formation certainly worked because they were on the front foot. Anderson with a shot, the post denying him the opener in this game. Luckily for Zurich, trying to find something else for themselves, but honestly, it was Grasshopper Club who were going close again. Jeffren and Anderson stood over the free kick. A fake there. The initial shot is deflected by the wall. Comes back to him though, and but for the post, yet again, Zurich would have been a goal to nil down. So the woodwork really is their saviour in this second game. And as you continue on to the second half, G picks up the ball here, beats his man, gets inside of a couple of players. Nice little attempted shot, but again, where the post might save Zurich, it also bites them in the backside because Sheng's shot is on target, but unfortunately, the woodwork is what stops them going a goal up. Moving on, 19 minutes remain of the second half, and it looked like Zurich might be heading for a 0-0 draw until Sheng broke through the back line, gets himself a spot kick. It was a really bad tackle, actually, from the Grasshopper defender. Was getting nowhere near the ball, and yeah, it's weird to say the least, because I genuinely thought that was, you know, maybe a red card. I mean, look at this. He's kind of, Sheng is through on goal. He's the last man. Could he have scored? Potentially. Is that a red card? You know, that's what I was thinking initially. So, anyways, doesn't matter for Zurich. Their only job from now is to put this ball in the back of the net. It wasn't G to take it. It was his teammate. And luckily, he scored to give Zurich the lead in this derby day. 18 minutes or so remaining of normal time, and Zurich are leading the game. But I have to say, if Grasshopper Club had scored their first 2 efforts, which we saw come back off the woodwork, this one would not have been Zurich in the lead. Let me say that for sure. But not the greatest penalty. Keeper should have done better. I don't think Zurich fans are going to care inside the ground, though, because they have the lead in this game, and it's G who also won the spot kick as well. It was not a dive, so we can't really say anything about that, you know, before anybody says he dove for it. He didn't. It wasn't a dive. But, yeah, good penalty in the end, in the sense that it scored. Not necessarily great in the sense that the way it wasn't completely in the corner, but we weren't worried about that one. Now, as I said, there was still a little bit of time left. 90 minutes on the clock. G wins the ball back as Grasshopper Club were trying to break away. They saw that potentially they had one more chance in the game, trying to force the pass. It didn't work. G wins it back, lays it across, and he gets himself an assist on the day as well. So he wins the penalty and will get an assist. Rodriguez with the finish for this one in the dying few minutes. It didn't really change the outcome of the game, because Zurich would have still gone on to win the game, but it did obviously improve their goal difference, and it makes the win look a little bit more convincing. G could have gone for the shot himself, decided to be unselfish, laid across, and it was probably the right decision to do as well. So, very good work from G, and he's going to have to put performances in. Now his dad has stopped his money, he might have to think about what he's going to do, because at the moment, while Every's still on that, you know, kind of youth contract, he has that for 6 months with the potential to make it a pro contract after those 6 months. So, I suppose, depending on how his money currently looks, if he has enough to keep him going until he potentially gets that pro contract, then that's great. If not, he might either have to think about trying to get that pro contract sooner, or trying to find a job outside of football to keep him going until he maybe gets that. So there's ways he can go about this. If he puts in good performances on the pitch, as I said, the pro contract might come sooner. If not, he will have to think of other means of getting some money into the bank balance. But Game 2 done, 2-0 win. After the disappointing start to the episode, that's the way you want to bounce back. Rodriguez with a goal for himself as well, as I said. Moving swiftly on though, and we move into game number 3 of the episode, as it will be the return game against FC Basel. I've said it before, this is one of the better sides in the division, and last time these two teams met each other, FC Basel came away with a 2-0 victory. So we're looking for that not to be the case here today. Zurich, the home side. G is playing that right mid spot, the place that we don't like to see him playing. But he's unfortunately got to do a job for his side. He's been put there. He's going to have to do the job effectively for his team. So this one, it's going to be tough. We know that Basel have got quality. We know they're a good side. At the moment, they're second. They're chasing Young Boys, who have had a really good season so far, to be honest with you. I was expecting that maybe this would be a bit more kind of one-way street for the RSL this year, but unfortunately it hasn't been that way for Zurich, as they ended up taking a deficit in this game. 11 minutes in, Basel go through and score to take the lead. This strike is fantastic. I think it's Van Wolfswinkel, but I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that exactly. I'm not 100% sure who scores this, but it's not Van Wolfswinkel. He's there, the number 9 on the right-hand side of your screen. It's actually the number 6, who is Frey. What a strike, to be honest. He got through. I was thinking that maybe the keeper would come out and do the job. It comes off the underside of the crossbar, drops in, crosses the line, and it gives Basel the lead. So Zurich are going to have to come from behind if they want to win this game. And matters didn't improve for them. 60 minutes in, Van Wolfswinkel on the ball, finds Frey, the goal scorer. Frey through to Stoker, and he makes it 2-0 to the away side. So Zurich fans at this point love the fact that they beat Grasshopper in the last game in the derby. This time around, though, brought back down to earth, I guess you could say, because Basel taught them a bit of a lesson here. And 60 minutes in, the away fans were loving their time, whereas the home fans were thinking, is it over yet? Pretty much, because at this point, Zurich had done absolutely nothing. And I mean that. They hadn't even had a chance. So, from a neutral's point of view, I didn't see how they were going to get themselves back in this game. It would take a moment of quality in order to get back in the game. But the game was lacking that at the moment. So Stoker gave him a 2-0 lead, or Stoker gave him a 2 lead. I don't know how you say it. I was thinking that this is just going to be another game where Zurich are going to lose. However, there was one man on the pitch who wasn't prepared to let that happen. Changes there for Basel, as you can see. Game got back underway. G on this right-hand side. Stands there for a little bit thinking, what am I going to do? Receives the pass, picks it up. Goes inside of 1, goes inside of 2. Lovely bit of skill there to get past him. The defence back off and back off and back off. Just allow him a bit too much time. And that is a sensational strike from the 19-year-old. He got his side back into this game, gave him a little bit of life. The fans hadn't had much to really celebrate about today or even cheer, but that certainly picked them up and it gave them that little bit of confidence that they needed in order to potentially get back on this one. But let me say this, you do not back away as a defender. When you see a player running at you at pace, do not back away like they did there. It gave him the time and he thought, you know what, I'm just going to hit this and see what happens. I'm so glad he did, because that goal right there shows you that he does have the quality to make it as a pro in football. But I tell you what, the way that this game was going, it needed a little bit of quality, and it got it in abundance there from G. What a strike that is to take your side back into this game. Frey going off. There is not too long left, though, for FC Zurich to find an equaliser. G picking up the ball, turning a man, getting inside of another one. Keeps hold of it here. Thought about making a pass, but instead decides to try and curl one. It hit the woodwork, but it wasn't the post that was in between the sticks. It was the one behind it. So, as the game came to a close, 2-1 defeat. FC Basel coming away with a victory. The fans, they were disappointed. There isn't really too much that can be said about it. But on another day, I tell you what, G would have found that second goal and would have clawed his side back to a single point. We'll take another look at the goals that actually happened for the sides. Look at this one again from G. Sheng. As I said, as a defender, you should never back off like they did here. In my opinion, it's poor defending, but take nothing away from the strike from G. What a sensational effort it was on that stronger left-hand side of him. And as I said, he just kind of slowed down before he actually took the strike to kind of balance his options up, I guess you could say. And then this is the miss that he had, where potentially on another day, he would have found the top corner and it would have been Zurich heading away with a single point from the game. But sadly, as I said, it just was not meant to be. So it is what it is. That is another defeat now for Zurich, and it keeps them within that kind of 5th, 6th place spot. To be honest, I don't think I was expecting any more. You know, I wasn't expecting Zurich to win the league or anything like that, but yeah, seeing them 5th or 6th out of like 10 teams, not ideal. Anyways, another game in midweek, which unfortunately G couldn't be a part of, FC Sion, due to the fact that he has his, of course, studies outside of football, so couldn't make it to that midweek away game, and in the end, his side ended up falling to a yet another defeat, another 2-1 loss. But he's back in the team here for BSC Young Boys on the Sunday, which again was an away game, but luckily with it being the weekend, he could make it here in order to play this one. So as we go into game here, Young Boys are top of the league, and if that Basel game is anything to go by, chances are this one is just going to be as bad. But going into it, I don't know why. I just felt like a little bit more confident in the Zurich team. I felt like G was playing some good stuff. That confidence that he's going to get from that goal that he scored last time out should give him a whole new outlook on when he's moving forward and going forward. So I'm feeling quietly confident that maybe Zurich might be able to sneak a result from this one. The side is up there for you to look at from FC Young Boys, and that is the FC Zurich side. Sheng does start out on right wing instead of the usual, I guess, right midfield that he does. But again, he picked up the ball here, and very much like the FC Basel game, they all stood off. They kind of just let him run straight through, and let's just say the confidence is there in abundance, because that is a fantastic way to open up the scoring for your side. Again, very strange defending, stepping off, allowing G to run at them with pace, and I have to say as well, the run from the striker here is brilliant. You can see the defender points his arm out, telling his teammate to go across and stop G, but from there on, it's literally, what's he going to do? And I never expected him to try and dink the goalkeeper. Never, ever, ever expected him to try and chip the keeper from there. I just thought he was going to try and curl it in the bottom corner, but he caught him completely by surprise. Keeper didn't know what to do, thought the ball was going over the top, and it just didn't. It dropped in off the post, and FC Zurich took the lead inside 5 minutes. So just for future reference as well, you can see I am going to bump up the CPU goalkeeper. I was playing it at 50, but I did in the end bump it up to, I think it was 70 or 65. 65, I think it is actually. So yeah, future reference, that's what it's going to be at. Maybe I'll bump it to 70 anyways. But just for anybody wondering, that's the way it is. It's legendary, and we're playing with the CPU goalkeeper on 65. So that's the way it's looking at the moment. But regardless, into the next one. The next chance for G appeared not too long after he scored his first. Very similar to the first one. Another chip. Do you want some salt with that? And Zurich took a 2-0 lead against top of the table Young Boys. How on earth is this happening? I said I was quietly confident moving into the game that Zurich and G were going to get something out of it. And that confidence looks like it's paid out in abundance, because he is playing so well all of a sudden. In front of goal, he just looks that more composed. You know, on another day, he would have hashed at that and just smashed it at the goalkeeper. Not this time. Dinks it over the top of him, and it's G with 2. FC Zurich 2-0 to the good. But, you know, when you're playing against top of the table, it can be quite difficult to keep them quiet. So straight from the kickoff, Young Boys had something to say. Playing out wide, lovely piece of football here. They kept it for, I'd say, at least 10 or so passes. Nice little passing play, getting behind. The post denies him initially, but the follow-up is there. And just like that, FC Zurich have gone from leading 2-0 to Young Boys being back in the game and potentially on their way to finding an equaliser. Have FC Zurich got what it takes to hold on for 70 minutes here and pick up what would be a very good 3 points? Or will they struggle to keep the Young Boys offense quiet? That's going to be the question mark. But that's so disappointing. The way that one's gone in, man, if they could have kept that out, I would have felt so much more confident that they would be able to hold on to this one. Nevertheless, I'm still pretty confident they'll get something out of the game, so we'll see how it's going to fare for the last few minutes of it. Into the second half, Young Boys kept the pressure up, and they were the better side in the second half, going so close to an equaliser here, and genuinely thought that had found the top corner. Luckily, though, it was off target, and Zurich was still in control of the match. Not for long, though. 82 minutes in, there is Young Boys yet again creating another chance. Sao out wide to his teammate. Lovely little flick on towards the middle. And just like that, they found the equaliser in the game. 5 or so minutes remaining. It's heartbreak for FC Zurich. The travelling fans must have thought with 5 minutes to go they were going to get themselves the victory from this one. But wasn't meant to be. That is a fantastic finish as well, I have to say, from the Young Boys striker. And that just really kind of put pressure on now. There's 5 or so minutes left of this game. And Young Boys were miles the better side in the second half. Zurich struggled to really create. So if that's anything to go by, then they might struggle to really get themselves another chance. But that was actually the case. 90 minutes. Sheng put his teammate through. He hashed at the shot and hit it straight at the goalkeeper. He had to score. He's literally one-on-one with the keeper. Chance to give Zurich the lead in what would have been a massive 3 points. Beating top of the table, and he hit it straight at the goalkeeper. I don't think we can say it's been a bad result, though, because, as I said going into the game, I felt quietly confident that FC Zurich would still get something out of it, and it's still nice to see them, of course, getting a point here, but it could have been more. That's the one thing that I think is the most disappointing part about it. It could have been 3 points for Zurich, and it would have been massive for them. But it's not It's only a point. You'll still take it, though, against top of the table opposition. And after that game was played, we decided to take a longer look at the league table. So here it is for you guys if you are interested in seeing how it's currently going for G and FC Zurich. But one thing to note as well is that they've actually lost more games than they have won. They've lost 6 of their 15 games, which isn't ideal. As well, FC Sion have 2 games in hand over, some teams, and also one over the likes of Zurich. So moving into that one there, they're in 6th place at the moment. I'm not sure in this league how it exactly works for European football. So I don't know where you have to finish in order to get that. Maybe one of you lovely people in the comments know that, and maybe you'll be able to tell me so we know what G and Zurich should be aiming for in order to get maybe some European football. But at the moment, 6th place, it's been okay. They've had an okay start. I'm wondering if, I know I've seen FC Basel playing in the Champions League before, so I'm wondering if, the top team from the division get in the Champions League, and then the next 3 or 2 get into the Europa League. If you know, let me know in the comments. That would be a great thing to do. Thank you all. You guys are all incredible anyway for all the support, as always, but I'm sure one of you guys out there know it as well. And so as we go into the final game of today's episode, it is bottom of the league, Lausanne-Sport. I'm hoping I got that right. So for FC Zurich, anything but a victory here would be seen as a poor result, especially at home. So you want to give your fans something to cheer about. And 6 minutes in, they did just that. Great run from G in front of goal. He looks so composed at the moment. And there is another one for this young man. Runs over to the crowd and says, "I can't hear you." Points out his ear as if to say, maybe that's to his dad. Maybe, he's looking at that and thinking, "You listen, Dad, you can talk all you want, but at the end of the day, I'm performing and I'm going to be a pro footballer." But if you wonder what happened to the editing there, basically, my computer malfunctioned. My editing software basically malfunctioned. It didn't read it for a second, so it went to a grey fuzzy screen. I was like, what on earth is going on? And so basically that's the reason why we came back and only saw the replay of the goal, because literally I lost that little bit where it showed you it. It was weird, and I've never experienced it before, but yeah, it was kind of like, you've seen horror films and stuff like that. It was off an exorcism or something like that. Anyways, moving on, 58 minutes in, Zurich then got a second for themselves. Lovely cut back. A little bit lucky on this one though, I have to say, but in the end, it doesn't matter how they go in, and all that matters is that they go in. 60 minutes in, Zurich 2, their away side 0. I can't remember exactly how you pronounce it, so I'm probably not going to try, but it really did sum up. You could tell they were the bottom of the league team, Lausanne-Sport, because they didn't really do anything. And for G, it's a nice way to continue his good run of form, getting yet another goal. But it's just nice as well to end off on winning ways. So in terms of results, a real variety in there today. Nothing overly ridiculous. But in terms of the performance, G has had an absolutely brilliant episode. And I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen in the January transfer window. Are there going to be any sides that are looking for a bit of a gamble potentially? But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, that is how we end today's episode off. If you did enjoy it, a like, rate, would greatly appreciate it. As always, thank you for your incredible support on the channel. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Also, turn on the notifications so you never miss an upload. What's next for G? What's going to happen? You'll have to watch next episode to find out. But all we know for now is that his dad did see him play for China and that he's cut off his funding. So I'm excited. I'll see you all next time for the next episode. Adios.